We are in a different location, isn't it great?
We are again, yes. We are talking about the hardware asset refresh process today, which is all about how you replace your hardware in a manner which maximises the return on investment, ensures that you're doing it cost effectively, and whether or not you want to align to your organisation's depreciation cycle, or whether you want to, for instance, sweat your assets to try and get a few years more out of them than you'd originally planned. It's all of those sorts of issues.
Good stuff. I'm just trying to think of what else I can throw in there as well. I suppose that it's that whatever you're spending money on, it's in a structured fashion. It's not lastminute.com.
Yeah. So most organisations will have a depreciation period. So all their hardware is depreciated over a period of years. So what that means is that the value of the asset is put onto your balance sheet, and then each year a portion of the cost. Usually, if it's a 4-year refresh cycle, then every 4 years you're taking 20% out of your profit and loss to account for the 25% of the hardware that's effectively being consumed. So most organisations will have different refresh periods or different depreciation periods for different types of hardware. So servers will often be 6 years, desktops might be 4 years, laptops might be 3 years. It just depends on what your organisation feels is appropriate, and that's usually actually an accounting decision.
And let's not forget those mobiles either.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Yeah.
So mobiles will often be 2 years, for instance. So what you need to do is you need to understand your organisation's depreciation, what they're depreciating the assets over, and then you plan to replace. So let's talk about a 4-year refresh cycle, because that's simple, right? You plan to replace 25% of your assets every 4 years. So what you do is you have that agreed, that's your principle. Then you will go and work out which are the oldest assets that you need to actually replace, so the oldest 25%. And then you build a business case saying, this is why we need to replace them, this is how much it's going to cost, this is what we're going to receive from the assets after we've disposed of them, because there's often value in your assets, even once you no longer see them as having value. Asset disposition organisations absolutely see there's value, so they'll often pay you a certain amount for your assets, and then you launch the project to actually replace the assets.
So a top tip there too is to, whatever sort of refresh life cycle you have in place, is to keep an eye on the major OS releases as well that come out. Because there's no point in upgrading your laptops to find out that possibly 6 months later, then your PCs, that you're going to have to upgrade your operating system.
Absolutely, yeah. So, for instance, a lot of organisations are, when they've upgraded or planning to do their Windows 10 upgrade, are upgrading a lot of their physical assets as well to go along with that. Yeah.
And have a mind too on the knock-on consequences that has on the applications, because legacy applications may then not sit on the OS, or may not sit on the hardware that has been bought as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
It's not just a case of buying the hardware, saying and off we go.
No. This is a really powerful process for more mature organisations, because the other thing that it allows them to do is it allows you to go to a hardware manufacturer and say, okay, we're going to replace 25% of our estate over the next 4 years. Can you give us a deal, please? So it's actually, if you get this process right, it can be a really powerful way of driving down your hardware costs as well. So that's sort of something to bear in mind, is that when you get to the point of being able to have that principle that we're replacing assets every X number of years, use that to drive down, to negotiate deals with your hardware vendor.
And additionally too, especially on the PC or desktop side as well, is if you've got stuff that seems to be lasting longer than normal, don't forget to rotate that into your loan equipment process as well. You don't necessarily have to sort of let's get rid of it all. Yeah. If there's good stuff that's lasting you, then make that part of your loan equipment stock.
Yeah, and a lot of organisations also, particularly low margin organisations, you'll be asked, or they'll sort of decide that even though officially they have a 4-year refresh cycle or a 6-year refresh cycle for servers, that actually what they're going to do is they're going to sweat those assets and maybe try and get an extra couple of years out of those assets. From an accounting perspective, that extra couple of years is really attractive because it's effectively free. You've written off the physical assets. What that does, though, is it does mean that you're building up a degree of technical debt because you've got a lot of older assets that need replacing, the software on them needs replacing, it can increase your administrative costs. So although for a lot of organisations that, as I said, are particularly low margin ones, sweating your assets beyond their depreciation period is quite attractive, it does store up a lot of problems for the future, particularly around your software. So.
Well, I think without delving into the entire nuts and bolts of the process, that's enough to be getting on with.
I think so, yeah. Bear in mind, this is a process for more mature organisations. So if you have an immature hardware asset management process, or you are an organisation that's sort of low cost, trying to really absolutely minimise costs, it's quite possible that you'll never actually get to the point of implementing the asset refresh process in a systematic way that aligns with your organisation's depreciation of their asset register. But that is what it is.
And I think that brings us to the close on our ham processes, doesn't it?
I think it does, actually.
That's our last video for this one.
This is the last ham process video. So thank you very much for spending some time with us. We hope it's been useful, and we look forward to sharing our software asset management processes with you.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah. See you later.
Take care.